Good evening and welcome to the Civil Service Commission meeting of September 12, 2018. Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner McCarley?
Present.
Commissioner Devine?
Here.
Chair Abkarian?
Here, what's next?
For the record, Commissioner Manukian and Gazarian are absent. Next are minutes for the meeting of August 8, 2018.
Move for approval. Second.
Second, roll call, please.
Commissioner McCarley?
Yes.
Commissioner Devine?
Yes.
Commissioner Abkarian?
Yes. All communication, no cards. What's next?
Recruitment and examination report.
Ms. Doyle.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this is your monthly recruitment and examination status report. As you can see from the report, recruitment continues to be very busy. In fact, we have had a record number of recruitment processes probably in the last 6 months. We are seeing a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel as there's been a soft hiring freeze recommended by our city manager just to look at our upcoming financial situation. So it may give us a little bit of a break, but essentially all that is requiring is that each department, as they have vacancies, instead of just proceeding to fill them, that they're being required to seek city manager approval before going. And some are approved and some aren't, but for the most part that's going on right now. But we do want to say staff is doing a great job on all of these recruitments. We've gotten some newer folks involved. You can see Ms. Martin is back in the game, and Sean has a huge number of recruitments going, and some of our newer folks, Anaid, Ando, and Narek, are all involved. This is a note and file item, so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them for you.
Any questions? What's next?
Eligible list established.
Mr. Doyle.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this is our eligible list that has been established since our last meeting. Again, it's a relatively long list, a total of 15 lists that have been established, so that's quite a number, including there's 2 department heads in there and the police officer recruit list. As you can see, again, a lot of busy activity, and the interesting part again is I'll call your attention to the far right-hand column. In spite of the number of applications we receive for positions, we always seem to have a very small list after all is said and done, and that's just again a representation of the expectations we have, the standards we have, and the processes are quite challenging. So with that, again, if you have any questions on this item, this too is a note and file. We'll take it from there.
Any questions? I just have one question. On the last one, it says Traffic Engineer Associates. Is that 67 or is that 7 or what happened there?
Chair Abkarian, that is 7. The 6 is the page numbering for the agenda.
Oh, it just kind of been superimposed there. Okay. All right. What's next?
Class specification for approval, Records Administration Analyst.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this is a new class specification for approval. It's called Records Administration Analyst. This is a position within our city clerk's department, and it's a much needed and long awaited hiring that we hope to do. And this person will be coordinating the citywide records management function, sort of from a centralized standpoint. It's something we've long needed, and I know our city attorney here has been involved in this process throughout her career as well. The individual will be handling compliance with policies, procedures, and laws pertaining to records management and retention of records, the destruction of records. There'll be other administrative duties as well, a lot of involvement in the elections and public meetings, records and minutes and such. So quite a bit of responsibilities, and we're glad that it's finally being brought forward. This is again a new specification. This will require Commission's approval. In the audience we have Sean Chavez, who's a human resources analyst who works with our city clerk's office. City Clerk Kasakian would love to be here, but he's on a delegation trip to Armenia presently and won't be back till, I believe, next Tuesday. So with that, if you have questions, either Sean or myself will be happy to try and answer them.
Mr. Doyle, would we have access to the compensation, I'm going to use the term bands, but compensation for the position as established, or is there a crosswalk between the identifiable job number and the range of compensation benefits for this particular position? I think when I read it, this is not a initial entry clerk, that there is, and as you described, significant responsibilities for this analyst to perform. So I would assume that this is not at the bare minimums paid by the city of Glendale to new hires in positions of relative inexperience and less than significant responsibilities.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner McCarley, this is by no means an entry-level position. This is a mid-management level classification represented by the GMA group, and salary range, I can't think of it offhand, but I believe it's in the neighborhood of about $6,000 per month up to about $9,200 a month. So we are it's a decent mid-management level salary range, and we typically don't address salary in this forum. It really does. Salaries don't fall under the purview of the commission. It's really a function of the city council, but that's my recollection of where this would fall. And as you can see, there are minimum requirements that would require some significant exposure to records management in one's career.
Anything else? Mr. DeWine, Commissioner DeWine? You're good? All right, what's next?
We need
Can
a
we
vote.
have a-
Oops, I'm sorry.
Move for approval.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner McCarley?
Yes.
Commissioner Devine?
Yes.
Chair Karen.
Yes, now, what's next now?
Class specification for approval, utility equipment operator series.
So,
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a new specification, the Utility Equipment Operator Series for Glendale Water and Power. This is a series that kind of evolved from an existing job series or a parallel series elsewhere in the city called the equipment operator. This is utility equipment operator, and it really has a kind of a separate set of job duties working in and around the GWP water and electric facilities, and in some cases the individual will be operating the equipment in close contact with substations and switch racks, which would expose the individual to high voltage work. Additionally, this is it's in a separate bargaining unit as the other equipment operator series. This one is represented by IBW versus GCA. So we've had to come up with, again, both a separate title and job duties for those reasons. So with that, if this is an item that would require commission approval, we have Mr. Vardanian here from my staff. Ando is here, as well as Mike Romanino, who's our water superintendent, has some familiarity with this position.
any questions?
Yeah. Mr. Doyle, you indicated the collective bargaining agreement, the proponent of that agreement is IBEW.
Correct.
So jumping forward, I would assume that the IBEW domain is water and power, and that has had some long, significant history based upon the technical skills of those who work within the water and power department? Or is this an anomaly?
This is not an anomaly. There are a couple situations like this, Commissioner McCarley. Historically, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers came to the city of Glendale in 2011, and they were certified as the exclusive bargaining representative for our rank and file field employees within Glendale Water and Power. Prior to that, those employees were represented by the Glendale City Employees Association, which is a much larger unit that represents just a variety of different classifications, both professional, clerical, paraprofessional, maintenance. But IBW covers the field operations within Glendale Water and Power. So it's basically water, electrical distribution, and power plant. So what we found when they initially came in were jobs that had generic titles such as this, equipment operator, we had maintenance worker, we had building repair, and we had to kind of segregate the classifications into those that functioned under the utility versus those that worked in other city facilities. And that was one of the aspects of this that necessitated the establishment of a new series. This is just one in a series of that. Interestingly enough, because it's a separate bargaining unit, they would have separate set of negotiations for their salary and benefit negotiations. So positions that probably formerly paid the same are deviating, which is another reason why it's good to have separate, distinct classifications depending on the bargaining unit.
Well, that is interesting. Two pieces. First question, I would assume that there was an election among those employees of Water and Power, and the results of the election, the results were that IBEW was identified or became the bargaining agent.
That is correct, and that occurred in March, April of 2011.
So as a consequence of two bargaining agents, one IBEW and the second being the Glendale City Employees Association, individuals who perform somewhat similar tasks but are in different departments. For instance, those who are associated with police department, for instance, who are involved in same or similar driving diesel-powered trucks would identify with GCEA versus IBEW, and once again, there would be differentials in the compensation based upon the negotiated terms of the CBA.
That's correct, and what has occurred since the establishment of IBW as the bargaining unit for the yard is that any generic job titles and classifications that would have crossed over both bargaining units have since been separated and retitled and with their own specifications, and obviously at this point they're separate salaries as we've gone through a couple of rounds of labor negotiations since 2011. So now what you see in other utilities, for example, the glaring example of this is the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. You actually do see generic job titles where a person performing one set of duties in their LA Department of Water and Power department might be making more than someone in a Department of General Services. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me if you're talking about the same classification title, but that's why we tried to make these separate and distinct and have their own set of duties and their own set of the individuals assigned within the utility tend to work in a little more of a hazardous environment just due to the exposure to electricity and power generation and such. So.
You did bring up, Mr. Doyle, the concern that I have had. I'm not fully versed in the goings-on of the Los Angeles City Department of Water and Power, but certainly as an avid reader of the Los Angeles Times, there were multiple articles over the last couple of months concerning the differential compensation schemes between employees who work either in DWP for Los Angeles or the rest of the city, which has caused somewhat of not only a concern, but some degree of animosity between the two workforces. Somebody working in the city, as I use the description here, in another department of the city of LA is paid less, for the most part,
Right.
than perhaps a more effective and strident bargaining unit over at DWP. Los Angeles. So my concern is, and this is part and parcel of the challenges associated with negotiation with our various employee associations, is to get as close to parity as we possibly can, so we don't have the type of issues that have now surfaced in a much bigger city, the city of Los Angeles, between two groups who essentially do the same thing but are represented by two different bargaining units.
That's correct.
Okay. Anything else? You just got here. Let the record reflect that Commissioner Kazarian arrived and is at the meeting. What's next?
We need to vote, sir.
I'm sorry. I'm just skipping the vote. How about if I just do that? Give me a roll call, please.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Now let's have roll call. I think I'm sleeping tonight.
Commissioner Kazarian?
Abstain.
Commissioner McCarley?
Yes.
Commissioner Devine?
Yes.
Chair Karen.
Yes. Okay, now what's next?
Class specification for approval, benefits assistance series.
Let's go.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a revision to an existing job series for positions that actually fall within my department, Human Resources. This is, again, the benefits assistance series, and the main revision here is not only an update of the existing class specification, which was last done in 2012, but also the addition of a new classification within that series called Senior Benefits Specialist. The series addresses, again, the benefits function, which deals a lot with the coordination of benefits, retirement system, and things like that. Really, the biggest chunk of it deals with administration of our health benefits program for our employees, retirees, and their dependents. And, you know, if you think about it, there's probably close to 3,000 lives are touched by the two staff members that I have that deal with this work. So it's a lot of work to deal with, and again, we're seeking to. We have a manager and an assistant currently. We're seeking to upgrade that assistant to a senior benefits specialist position. And if this is approved by the commission, then we would seek to do a promotional examination and proceed with that. So that's the specification. If you have questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them. Ms. Amy Martin is here. She worked on the specification, as well as our benefits manager, Terry Talon, is here as well.
Commissioner McCarthy.
Mr. Doyle and those who are assisting you, who is, I don't need a name, but is there an individual within your department who is in fact performing the duties as outlined in this request for a new class specification?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner McCarley, yes, this would be ultimately a reallocation of one position for another. There's an individual in the benefits assistant position that we would hope to promote after having this approved and posting a bulletin.
And for how long have we had this existing position, the duties of which correlate very closely to this new proposed position of benefits assistant? So 10 years, 20 years, somebody's been filling the position and doing an admirable job of it. I would assume as almost all of our great
That's correct.
city employees
Sir,
perform.
it's about 8 or 9 years this individual's been working in the benefits function.
So is there an expectation that this, I wanted to see if there are any requirements here for supervision or management?
No supervision. There's two individuals working in benefits. Again, the manager, Ms. Talon, who's here, as well as the assistant. And it actually, I have to say, this is probably a bit overdue. Ms. Talon was involved in the Munis transition project, which actually took her away from our office for probably about 90% of the time for over the past year and a half. And it kind of left the assistant with handling a lot of things that would be working above and beyond what the existing classification would require. So it's, in my opinion, a long overdue request.
And acknowledging your advisement about the scope of our responsibilities, and I have no significant interest in compensation, but I would assume that one of the positive benefits associated with this reclassification is that the employee receives greater compensation for the duties that are identified here.
Yes, sir. That would be a promotion.
Anyone else? All right, we have a motion.
I move.
Second.
Move in second. Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Kazarian?
Yes.
Commissioner McCarley?
Yes.
Commissioner Devine?
Yes.
Chair Karian?
Yes. Are we, Mr. Earl, are we finished with moving to the new system now, or is that done?
There's actually two major parts to that project. The first was payroll and the human resources ERP system. That part of it is probably 98% done. The next phase, which fortunately for my staff, they're not as involved in, is the financials portion, the budget, purchasing, accounts payable. So that's
Finance department.
yes, that mainly weighs upon the finance department right now. So
Great. All right. What's next?
Reports?
Mr. Doyle.
none other than the late performance evaluation report. We can address that, and what you see are really a few departments with some first notices, no second notices, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 departments with no past due evaluations. Again, this is a note and file item. If you have questions or concerns?
Questions? I'd like to read the name of the departments that don't have any past dues, not even first. That's City Manager's Office, City Treasurer's Office, Community Development, Finance, Glendale Water and Power, Human Resources, Innovative Performance and Audit, Library, Police, and Public Works, with huge Water and Power, Police, and Public Works with huge number of employees. None of them have even first notices. So that's great. Congratulations to them. Okay, what's next?
Civil Service Commission, staff comments.
Any comments? Okay, I have 3 items that I wanted to bring up, and hopefully we'll decide. Amendment to the rules. Matt, do you have any idea when we're going to get that back so we can vote on the amendments?
Yes, Chair Karian, as of last month, we had that last remaining item having to do with the repeal certification, and we've got that clarified. So at this point, I would feel comfortable proceeding with the meet and confer with our employee groups, and that could take a little bit of time, just because I just got done negotiating with our firefighters on a 3-year contract, which we hope will be passed by the council next week. But my hope would be to see if the associations would be willing to go through this in sort of a committee format, where we all get in one room together and meet and confer as a group, as opposed to individually. I mean, under the law, they can request individual meet and confer, but I think with our groups that we have, they'd be willing to do that. So I would say in the next month or so, I can solicit the employee associations. We would go through only those items that the commission gave me direction to proceed with, and then bring it back to you realistically, I'd say early next year, something like that, January.
Okay. I was hoping that we'll get it in November. That's been very, let's shoot for December, and if you don't get it in December, then I guess we can then move it to sometime next year. If you're hoping to get it in summer, and then we said, no, let's just go ahead and postpone it from summer to September or October, now, early next year, let's shoot for December. And then if that doesn't work, then we'll talk.
I would concur with the chair, and as I visualize the upcoming events on our calendar as commissioners, much of our time will be spent in disciplinary hearings, a huge consumption of time, which we're dedicated and willing to do, but this should come beforehand.
Yeah, let's shoot for December if we can, and see if that doesn't work, of course, we can always move that. The second item was that the employee past dues are not consistent. That means that there are some that says 51 day in their first notices, and there's some that are 73 days that are first notices. And I just I can never figure out why there's that much of a gap. So what I wanted to suggest was, on the next meeting, we Roy put some numbers on this so there won't be a problem. So the first notice would be 30 days, second notice would be 60 days, and the third notice would be 90 days from the date that they're served. First notice, no one has to show. Second notice, they would show. And we could discuss that at the next meeting. But I would like to put some dates, like 30, 60, and 90, instead of 51 and 73 both being first notices, which makes no sense.
Mr. Chair,
We had that, I'm sorry. I thought we had that.
We have absolutely gone over this many times.
Yeah.
If I could answer the question, clarify, the reason there's a difference in each employee or each late evaluation has to do with when that evaluation was actually due. They're all due at different time frames dependent upon when an employee is hired. So like the very first one you see in the city attorney's office, it says the original due date, July 9th, 2018. Then the one after that is from the city clerk's office, was due July 1st, 2018. Therefore, if you measure that amount of time from the date that we're at, I believe it's the date of the meeting, you're going to have different days because there's different due dates. So they're measuring against when the evaluation was actually due to today's date. And we look at these on a monthly basis. Some occur at the beginning of the month, some occur in the middle of the month, and some occur towards the end of the month. That's what accounts for the differential in those dates. That's
And to continue the clarification, Mr. Doyle, then at a point in which those days delinquent, which you have identified on the chart, reach X, which is 60, and you send second notice. That's an automatic process, as automatic as anything can be in a major enterprise such as the city.
more or less, yes.
If
There's
that's,
one in 73, so that
Yeah.
couldn't be true.
what were the dates? I know that we went through this before. What were the dates that were actually set as the cutoff point to jump from first to second to third?
We had a whole discussion about this.
I know that.
Yeah, but again, listen, I completely remember the discussion.
I don't, I wish I did,
I
because we
completely
kind of
remember
settled
the
on it, all
discussion.
of us.
I know,
But then again, I'm looking in here, I thought that the 60-day was the cutoff date. So I understand, Mr. Dole, I'm not questioning the January 1st June 1st compared to June 23rd. I understand the date from that due date until our next meeting would be further down, but I thought that we were at 60, 90 day, and now we have 73, and that's still first notice, which makes no sense. I thought I want to discuss this again next meeting. I do want to discuss it, because I want to set specific dates, 60, 90, 120, first notice, second notice, third notice. And if you are at 60 days, you're already 60 days late. So it doesn't matter when it was due, you haven't done it for 60 days. So I'm not sure
That's kind of a long period of time.
if that makes any sense or not.
We'll send the prior action that was taken, the minutes from the prior action that was taken.
And bring this up for
So
discussion
that, so
next
that you
meeting as
can
well.
remember in advance of coming to the next meeting.
Yes,
So you have the
please.
information and then you're prepared
Thank you.
with questions.
Thank you. That's it. I said 3, but I have 2.
Move
Okay.
to adjourn.
We're adjourned.
All right.